Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. This one is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Being Offended That My Daughter Called Me Ugly? This isn't a big deal, but I feel like I'm going crazy over it. Yesterday at dinner, my daughter, 15 female, was telling my wife, 40 female, and I, 45 male, about a guy she likes in school, and she thinks he likes her back. My wife and I were happy for her, and I would support her liking anyone that treats her right and makes her happy. She was telling us how he's smart, funny, and has a great six-pack. I'm used to the girl talk. My wife laughed and said something along the lines of, as long as he's a good person. My daughter replied, well, yeah, but looks are also important. I don't want to end up with somebody like daddy. I asked her what she meant by that. I don't remember her exact words, but it was along the lines of that I'm round, bald, and short. There was no immediate just kidding from her. I told her that wasn't a nice thing to say and that she should apologize. Before she said anything though, my wife chimed in teasing that guys were always so sensitive. My daughter laughed. I usually would immediately address this kind of situation, but I was pretty upset and didn't want to scream or cry. I know that's so lame. I stayed mostly silent for the rest of dinner. Bit of background, I've recently been feeling more self-conscious. I'm not ugly. Even if I was, I have other qualities to make up for it, and I know that my wife adores me, but I've definitely noticeably gained some weight and lost some hair. My wife is as stunning and youthful as the day I met her, and my daughter is the spitting image of her. However, I have a feeling that if my daughter insulted her appearance, she would be very offended and expect me to back her up. Before bed, I addressed the issue with my wife. I explained that it hurt my feelings and that I want to teach my daughter to be kind to others and that it would mean a lot if we could both talk to my daughter about why saying that was not right. My wife didn't take me seriously at all. Among the things she said was that the best way to make someone stop teasing you is to ignore it. I don't want to treat my daughter like a middle school bully, and that she, my wife, was also materialistic at that age but grew out of it on her own. She also said that I was asking for it by asking her what she meant. I told my wife that I was disappointed in her, and I would be talking to my daughter alone when she comes home from school today. I plan on talking to my daughter today, both because I'm still offended and I really don't want her to say that to anyone else. I don't plan on punishing her, just having an honest conversation and seeing where it goes. Nonetheless, I'm partially wondering if I'm the asshole for escalating the situation since it's a one-off occurrence. Question was, am I the astronaut for being offended that my daughter called me ugly? Okay, like we've said before, you can't be an asshole for feeling something, and this being offended is feeling something. It is what you do with it that could make you an asshole or not, but in this case, this stays along with this theme of if you don't communicate problems, people aren't aware of them and can't adjust accordingly. I think in this case, having a really solid conversation with your daughter, by the way, NTA, not the asshole for feeling that, not the asshole for wanting to talk to her about it either. Your wife is an asshole, and we'll get there in a minute. In this instance, having a conversation with your daughter who's 15 and knows better is a great idea because she loves you, you're her dad, you love her, and having a conversation about, hey, you don't want to hurt the people that you love. And if you do hurt the people that you love, you need to be aware of what happened so that you can avoid it next time because you don't want to harm this relationship. And if you treat people that you love this way, you will harm relationships. And knowing that it's important to you and that it hurts your feelings, it affected your feelings, you need to communicate that to her. Whether it works or not is TBD because you don't have a partner to back you up here. You don't have a partner to give you a unified front. My biggest fear in this whole situation is that you're going to go to bat here. You're going to try to explain it to your daughter. Your daughter's going to go talk to your wife and your wife's going to be like, don't take it seriously. He's just sensitive. Then you got a real problem. So wifey is another situation here that you're going to have to work on and try to figure out. And I don't know what that play looks like, but I know you've got to do something there. And you communicated your feelings to her. You communicated a problem to her. You tried to make her aware of it and told her the solution that you had planned out, which was talking to your daughter. The fact that she didn't back you up created another problem. You're going to have to develop another solution to that. She needs to take you seriously. And if you hurt her feelings, she would expect you to take her seriously. And maybe what you said here, where you said, if my daughter said something about my wife's appearance, she would be offended and she would expect me to back her up. Explain that to her. Flip it. See how she likes it then. See how she would respond differently, and she'll minimize it when you do, but it will at least plant a seed for her to start thinking about. This may have to be a long play. I do think that talking to your daughter is a damn good idea, because if she was willing to say that to you, whom she loves, and yes, is very comfortable with and probably filterless with, but if she was willing to say this to you, who's someone she loves, what is she willing to say to or about people that she doesn't give a shit about? All the strangers at school, all the kids that hurt group looks down on. You could have a much bigger problem than you realize here. And this conversation is going to be your peek into how big of a problem this actually is. And unfortunately, your wife is a part of this problem. And if it's a big problem that you discover with your daughter, your wife is a big part of this big problem. And it's going to get way more complicated. Yuck! Where does wife belong here? Wife could potentially be a 1 here. I think it's worth a second conversation to see where she truly lands and if she takes it seriously, and if you flip the script and say, how would you respond? If she doesn't come around after that statement, and if you find out this is a much bigger problem with your daughter, then wife could be ASCON 1. You could be discovering a whole mess of shit here. Daughter definitely should not have done this. Definitely shouldn't have done it. Again, OP, you're NTA. You can't be an asshole for feeling something. I don't believe you're an asshole for wanting to talk to her about it. Your wife is at least a 2 here for doing what she's done so far. I'm gonna say she's a 2 right now. She's a 2. She could potentially be a 1. And you'll find out whenever you have that furthering conversation with her where you explain how this seriously bothered you, and whatever you discover from the conversation with your daughter, I think that needs to be presented in this conversation as well. See how your wife would like it if the script was flipped, and go from there. Then you'll know how big of a problem this is going to be, but you have to communicate something that actually bothered you, and this could be a real problem. It could be a real problem. Your 15-year-old could already be at mean girl status in school and be looked at by everyone as a mean girl. You definitely don't want that.